it's Mazzy. Welcome back to the channel. I promised you I'd be back in a few weeks. It took me a month. I told you to be back after I cleaned about 50 records with the new HumminGuru Nova. This is the new machine that was sent to me by HumminGuru. Now, 2 years ago, I did buy the original HumminGuru, which I've been enjoying for about 2 years. That cost about $400. The new one is about $700. So people have been asking me, is it worth $300 more to upgrade to this one? Or if you don't have either, going for the less expensive one or going for this one? And I'm going to answer your questions, and ultimately you have to decide. That intro video with that beautiful swirling music by Enya, I thought that was a good intro with some beauty shots, some heroic shots, just to get you in the mood of what I was going to talk about in this video. And I was cleaning this Bob Dylan Blonde on Blonde album, one of my favorite albums, my favorite Dylan album. This is a 2i, and what's nice about this, I just want to bring music into this because it's about the music. But if you have an old record like this, I found this for $3 in a bin. Now, why would I need to pay $3 for an old ratted copy of Blonde on Blonde when I probably have 4 copies already, mono, stereo, and a mobile fidelity edition? Well, every time I see this record, and this was in the front outside in a vintage mall, not even a record store, when I open it up and I see this picture right here of the Italian actress Claudia Cardinale, I grab it. I don't know if this copy is worth anything. I cleaned it here and it actually played pretty well. The covers are beat up, but Claudia Cardinale's photo was in the first pressing of Blonde on Blonde. This is a stereo. I have a mono with that photograph, and she demanded her photograph be taken off. So subsequent pressings, Claudia Cardinale, the great Italian actress, was taken off Blonde on Blonde. So that's the record you saw spinning, the 2-record set in the HumminGuru Nova. So I'm going to talk about this and give you my honest take on it, because I think the improvements under the hood are things that you don't initially notice. Now, as I said in that previous video, I know some people that have the HumminGuru. In fact, I probably know about 20 to 30 people that own the original HumminGuru. I don't have any friends yet that have played with the Nova, but really seek out other Nova takes, reviews, personal presentations on YouTube, because there are quite a few already. And I think it's good for any of these kind of presentation videos or reviews for you to get an array of opinions. And if you follow me, you know my take on cleaning records. I resisted for half a century cleaning records. I'm lazy. So those of you who are lazy, this is the place to be right now, so you can understand why I like this type of thing rather than a spin cleaner, rather than the manual vacuum units or the dish rack things. I don't want to spend a lot of time cleaning records. I want to spend time listening to records. Now, you can do both. And what's nice about it here in this record room, right on the other side of this wall, is the laundry, another bathroom, and there's a wet dry area where I have the 2 HumminGurus set up, where I'm going to be doing most of my cleaning. And I did use both units over the last month, but I have my own way of doing things now, and it's kind of nice having 2 units. And I would suggest, if you buy either of these, what you should do is get an extra tank. Here, you can order an extra tank at the get-go, and so you could have one as a rinse tank instead of waiting and doing everything later, if especially if you're using surfactant. Now, I cleaned records with and without. This is the HumminGuru's surfactant. If you watch some of my collaboration videos, we had a discussion a couple of years ago with Michael Fremer and Mike of the Ingroove and Patrick P.B. Thal. And there's a definitely debate about this. Scientists say use a surfactant. People like Michael Fremer and Mike Ingroove, they use high-end machines. We're talking $6,000 to $10,000 record cleaners. They say don't use a surfactant. And, you know, your mileage may vary. I'd say experiment with it and see what works for you. Now, when I used the surfactant, I found there was an evenly dryness after the fact. Now, except when I used the longer drying cycle. And what's nice about the Nova over the original one, there's a longer cycle of cleaning and a longer cycle of drying. Now that is worth it over the original. Is that worth $300 more? I'm not sure yet, but the surfactant actually kind of kept things evenly, but you really should do a rinse after you use the surfactant. So you're going through twice. So what I did, I ended up, when I used the surfactant, I did it on the Nova, and then I did the rinse on my original machine. Now, most of you aren't going to buy two of these machines, and you don't need to buy two of these machines. But since I had it already, that's the way I'm going to do it when I use this. And I found using this, I really can't tell if there is an improvement. And I ended up using it on dirtier records. Now, the thing that's hard to compare, to me, it's virtually impossible to compare cleaning machines, because once you clean a record, it's clean. Once you clean a record, it's clean. When you clean it again, it's a second cleaning. So there are certain old records of mine. The Dylan one is an example, and some other things, some early used pressings that I have that really needed a good cleaning. And I found, I tried to get two records that of equal dirt. I played a little of them before I cleaned them, and then I cleaned them in either machine. And I used the long cycle on the Nova here, and it obviously cleaned it better than the shorter cycle on the original machine. Now, if the original machine had that cycle, or I cleaned it twice, that probably would have been enough. You should really watch that first video of mine, because I get more into the specs on that video. And you can definitely go online to the HumminGuru site and look at the specs. And I'm not here to get all scientific on you. I want to tell you real life, real world experiences. I just really liked how simple both these units are, both these HumminGurus. Now, there's a couple things let me talk about here. And again, I'm doing the weave in this video, which is kind of something that us Americans really know about now in terms of presenting information on this. So now in terms of the improvements on the Nova and my experience with them, I'd say the least interesting one, which seemed like kind of a wonderful idea, was the cover turns into a drying rack. Now, some may say, if you're drying the records, why do you need a drying rack? Well, even with my original machine, I would have an area where I'd lean the records to air dry, because even though they look totally dry, I like them to air out for a few minutes just to get everything dried before I slip it back in the sleeve. You put this together, it has the little HumminGuru birds here, but as you can see in this cutaway, just because of the width of this, and you put your record in, it doesn't keep the record stable. So I don't think I'm going to use this that much. I mean, I don't know what they could do to put an insert here so the width of the record fits in the lid, because it doesn't, and they kind of get all wimbly wombly like that. So it's not a really good design thing. The concept, the idea is great, the execution here, but this is really minor. This is something you don't have to use. You don't even have to put these poles in, these sticks in, with these little cute HumminGuru birds. So that to me was a little bit of a waste. Now, in terms of under the hood, as I said, the tank design has been improved. I have one friend out of those 20 people I know that have HumminGurus that had some tank leakage. Now, is that user error where they pour it in and it doesn't really kind of go in and it goes beyond and you have to wait and dry it out? I don't know. It's affected some users. The spin wheels in here have been redesigned, so they're not replaceable anymore, but they're more of a sturdier design, I understand. So the new Nova has two distinct power drives that go to the transducer. So you have this separate cavitation that makes it even, supposedly more even than the original version. And they say it's very close to what the degritter has. Now, I had a lot of comments in the last video. People say, no, you really should go to the degritter. The degritter apparently is a fabulous machine. I have no experience using it. I haven't been around anyone that has one, although I know several people around the country that do have them. And it's apparently a really nice machine, probably a more solid build, but it better be for $3,200. So yes, quality is important, but the price difference, a lot of people don't even want to pay $400 or $700 for a machine. So $3,200 is a stretch. So you could get 4.5 of these of the Nova and what, 6 or so of the regular one. You can have a bank of these compared to the degritter. So does the degritter clean records better than this? I don't know. All I know is these cleaned records, and I hear the difference on both of my HumminGurus. Now, I did do a comparison video about a year ago with my friend Dr. Robert, and he has the Audio Desk. That's a $4,000 machine. He's gone through 4 replacements from that company, and the company has been good. They've been replaced, but he had to sometimes upgrade and pay another $1,000 here, $1,000 there to upgrade that machine. And we did a back-to-back thing, and that really didn't clean records any better. With the 2-button push, I think the HumminGuru was an easier machine to use than his Audio Desk personally. It's not a solid build in the same way. It's a plastic unit, but I think the improvements they made are substantial here. And again, I keep going back because that's what everyone wants to know. Is it worth $300 more? First of all, is it quieter? Initially, I thought it was. I would say it's slightly quieter, but it's not going to be a silent machine. Because of the draining, because of the drying, I think the drying might be quieter than the wash cycle over the original, but not by much. So you don't buy this machine for the quietness. When I use it in my washroom there, I close the door, I'm over here playing music, working on my cataloging my discogs on my records. So I'm not really concerned about that, but not a lot of people have a separate area to do these cleaning. And when you're doing the cleanup, you're going to hear the noise. You're going to hear the water cycling. You're going to hear the drainage, and you're going to hear the dryer. And again, you have the various cycles here. Again, on this version, I do like the new cycles. So the question in everyone's mind is the HumminGuru Nova worth $300 more than the original? And that is a difficult question to answer. And some out there, some viewers are going to say I'm evasive. If I had my original HumminGuru and it was working great, I would hold off and wait. I wouldn't just upgrade for the sake of it, unless you wanted a second machine or you had someone that would buy your machine for a little bit, a few $100 maybe, $200, and you can apply that to get this one. Now, if I didn't have either of them and I knew what I know now, I would definitely go for the Nova, because that kind of future-proofs some of the issues that some of the people have had with the original. I'm a little curious why HumminGuru didn't bother just discontinuing the original machine and putting this one out. Maybe make it a different price point, around $600, $599 or something. I don't know if that's feasible, but making the one unit, because I think having the cheaper unit is going to take away sales from this, but there are people that want the improved machine. Between the degritter and the HumminGuru, there is the Kermis. I think that's what, $1,100 or so. And frankly, I saw that entire operation, and it's too complicated for someone like me. You have to wear the white coat. You have to do all these things and pre-wash and everything. And it's just not for me. Again, I like simplicity. I like simple design. I think the build quality for this plastic stainless steel device is pretty good. And obviously after 3 years of the original, or 3 or 4 years of the original in production, they figured out some improvements here, like a new car model. Not that the old one's not going to get you from here to there, but they've improved it. They've made more safety upgrades on it. I think this is something that is very successful. As a side note, I also tried this, okay? This is something for someone who wants to kind of tiptoe into record cleaning on a smaller scale. I remember having the disc washer from the 1970s, that wooden handle brush with the red liquid in it. I remember back in the day, I stopped using that red liquid because I always, in my mind, felt I don't want to put any kind of cleaning fluid on my records because I'm trying to get crap out of my records, not put stuff in the records. So I didn't clean records for years and years and years. I have tried this on a couple, and this is a brush scenario, very much like that old disc washer. And you put a drop of their cleaning liquid. This is the vinyl record cleaning fluid. This might be a good start for someone. This actually worked pretty well when I brought out a new record. I didn't want to take the time to come downstairs and put it through the HumminGuru and take 15, 20 minutes. I'm lazy. I just wanted to get initial dust off. If there was dust or some, paper shards from the insert, and I would use this, and it actually worked pretty well. I probably won't use this a lot. I think it's interesting, and it's an inexpensive way of getting that dust off with some kind of moisture. And for me, this is the easiest way. And when you talk about $400 or $700, when you have a big record collection like this, that is a fraction of what you're paying. I know people are complaining about the price of new records. Now, most new records are $25 to $35. Some are $40 to some $50. If you're buying records like that, and you're buying even used records at $5 or $10 or $15 or $20, and you're buying hundreds of records a year, I think you need a cleaning system, and this is probably the most cost-effective for what it does. And this is why it's very successful for someone like me. I resisted. I saw my evil ways, and I clean records now. And the HumminGuru is the easiest device. So in closing, I enjoyed cleaning records for the last month. And it was actually fun going back and forth between the two machines. Sometimes I would go from one to the other, as I said, with the wash, the rinse, and then a rewash and a dry. But I think most of the time, if I'm just doing a one-off, I'm going to use the Nova, obviously. But it was interesting. I did maybe 5 records a day on average, sometimes 10, sometimes none when I was traveling. But it was a good back and forth. So thanks for watching, everyone. I really appreciate it. I hope I answered most of your questions. There's no easy answer. I can't make the decision for you of which unit to get if you're interested in the HumminGuru series, or if you're interested in some other product. It's only for you to decide. So check it out. Again, till next time, Mazzy loves you.